Hello everyone, welcome back to PyNet Labs. So today we are about to discuss something that is known as network sounds. So in our career of network engineering, we mostly rely on the things that we see on the screen. So whenever it comes to troubleshooting, whether you are configuring any device, whether you are doing the monitoring, so most of the time you rely on the output that is presented on your screen. But many times the network devices we operate, they generate some sort of sounds that we often overlook. Okay, so this could be anything from a beep to a continuous series of beep to a little bit more intriguing like a siren. Okay, so things like that often happens whenever we are actually using devices, and most of the times we are not trained enough to understand and recognize those sounds. And besides the output that is generally presented on the screen, these sounds actually hold a little more deeper knowledge. So in today's video, I'm about to share some of the sounds that a network device is made, and we will look into the sounds, like what they mean, and we will have a little bit more interactive sessions where I will be sharing some sounds with you and you guys will tell me like what does it mean. So let's start with let's progress with this video.
If you enjoyed the content of the video, don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to our channel.
All right, so if I talk about sounds here, okay, so the first sound, so we were discussing about like sounds. Okay, so like I discussed many a times, our devices make some sort of sounds, and these sounds can be used for troubleshooting. Okay. Now, when it comes to troubleshooting, let's look over some of the sounds that we generally think. So there's a simple way. Okay, so many a times whenever you start your network device, be it a router, be it a switch, you might experience that there was a beep. Now, we often overlooks it, but a single beep, whenever your router beeps for a single time, okay, so whenever you heard a single beep, that means your router is checking the hardware. So your router is right now checking the hardware, right? So whatever hardware you have in your router, inside your router is actually checking for it. And a second single beep means that everything is okay. Okay, so these are some of the two sounds that you most often encounter whenever you are working with a router or a switch. So single beep, whenever you just plug in your device and you just power it on and you might heard a single beep. That means that the device has just started and it's going for its hardware check, which is also known as post. You guys might have heard about it. This is something that is known as post, which stands for power on self test. Now, if your device successfully passes this post test, a single beep is heard. That means everything on your device is working perfectly. Now, the second thing, the second sound that we might listen. So let's say there is an alarm sound. From switches. So you just powered on your switch and you heard an alarm sound. Okay, so this alarm, like I said, alarm, it's a little bit alarming, and whenever you heard this sound, so it's mean that something seriously wrong with your problem. Okay, so something wrong could be wrong with your switch here. Okay, so it's generally about alerting you about some power related issue. So there must be some power related issue. Your device might not be getting any sufficient power. Okay, or any of your ports. So as you know, like switches have quite a lot of ports. So if any of your ports malfunctions or is not working, so this could be also a sign when the alarm sound in your switches starts. So these are some of the common sounds that we might see whenever we are using or working with devices. Then if we move on with the third categories, then there are some diagnostic tools. So there are some diagnostic tools that you actually use that we often rely on whenever we are troubleshooting or whenever we are assessing our network situation. So there are some diagnostic tools, and these diagnostic tools also make some sort of noises, like some sort of sounds that actually helps us in assessing the network condition. So like you might hear one single beep like we have just discussed. So you might uh, heard a single beep. Okay, so that generally explains like a process is running. So whenever you start the monitoring process, you might heard a beep. That means you have successfully initiated the monitoring process. Okay, then you might heard continuous beeps. Okay, so you might heard some beeps in a continuous interval, like after 1 or 2, 3 seconds, you might heard beep, something like that. Okay, so it means like everything is working fine. Okay, then there is the third one, which is actually long continuous beep. Now, this is not something similar to the previous beep. So this long continuous beep is a one single beep which keeps on ringing for quite some time. Might be like 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that. So these kind of beeps are generally used to indicate error or failure. So it is generally used to indicate that something might have gone down in your device. So it could be an interface, it could be an essential device, or suppose the device that you're connected to, your peer, like whoever you want to communicate with, might not be responding. So these beeps are generally used to identify this kind of problem. So suppose I'm running some sort of diagnostic tools in my network and I want to gather information. So whenever these tools are running, they just generate some sort of sound that might help me in understanding my network situation. So it's a single beep, that means all good. If a single beep means generally your process is running, if there are continuous beeps in a succession in a frequency of 1 or 2 seconds, so it means like your device or your network is working fine and the process is running okay. But if there is a long continuous beeps that keeps on ringing for at least around 10 seconds or more, that means that something is serious in your network and you might better go look into it. Okay, so that's it. That's all there was for today's video. That's all we will discuss. We discussed in our video, so we looked into some of the common sounds that we often overlook. Okay, and but these sounds, held a story, they have a purpose, and I believe like this video might have helped you in understanding those theories. So for you, there's a simple quiz for you. So now I am about to play a So I'm about to play a sound here and you guys have to guess like what it means. Okay. So just for your clue, so here is some of your clue. So this sound is generally made when you have a disk failure. So you might have a disk failure in your device. So you might heard this sound. So can you guess what does this sound? Okay. So here is the sound that actually happens when you have a faulty hard disk or when you have a disk that is about to be failed. Okay. So if you got that sound, please share your information. Please share that in the comment section. So this sound is generally made when your hard disk is about to fail. So if you catch it, drop it in the comment section. I'm really eager to listen or get your responses. And don't forget to mention which sound you found really interesting. And do let me know what are your experiences regarding this network sounds in the comment box. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks a lot. See you in the next session. Thank you, guys.